Hi guys, how are you? It's Katty Lice again from Beautifully Rooted, a Christian mental health and education corporation, and also co-host of the Rooted and Edified show. And I was having a discussion with my husband today over dinner, and I kind of wanted to share the information with you just in case it's something that might be helpful to you or to whoever you pass this along to if they are in need. We were discussing domestic violence, and I was thinking, gosh, domestic violence is so much more prevalent than we really think. And so many people experience it, and they experience it in dating, and even teens in teen dating can experience domestic violence and dating violence, and it's kind of crazy how often it can occur and how many people should not be dating and need to get well before they're even put themselves in the dating pool and get rehabbed in that way. So we were discussing it, and I was thinking, man, it is so much better to leave a domestic violence relationship when you're dating. It's good to leave a domestic violence relationship, to leave the violence at whatever point to get yourself safe. But it's so much easier and better when you can do it in dating. If you don't allow a whole bunch of time to pass and a lot of ties that you create to this person, if you can get out in dating, do it as soon as you see the signs. These people are so good at conquering you. They're so good at putting themselves out there as this awesome being who is very attentive to you, sometimes too much, and they can check out your insecurities, and they know how to validate you for a period of time. And it just seems like this is too good to be true, but then you think it's reality, so you think it is true, and my time has come, and praise God for that. And unfortunately, this turn happens where you start really seeing the red flags and the parts about them that weren't there before, and you start seeing how they were so tricky, and you probably see their mental health issues and all these things. And I think this is what my husband and I were talking about, and this is something that I was pondering and processing and thinking. It seems like when this person enters your life, it's like this fantasy is fulfilled. Finally, it's my time. Praise God. I will accept it, and it feels so awesome. But then the wave of reality hits, and you see reality for what it is. And I feel like it's so hard for people to deal with that, to deal with the change from the fantasy that you were hoping for and the reality. And I want to encourage you, when you see reality, when you see the red flags, you need to deal with it immediately. You need to put that fantasy away. If that fantasy is not reality, you need to not live in that world, and you need to deal with reality as it is as soon as possible. And you have to deal with that grief and know that it is so much better to exit right then than the difficulties you can occur trying to exit later. Again, it's worth it to exit later, but it's so much easier when you haven't made all these ties with this person. You don't have all this investment made. It might not be super easy, but it's going to be easier. And as I was thinking about this holiday season, when everybody's posting pictures of their family, and when it's a time when it would be very easy to want to live in that fantasy world and feel like I've got this wonderful, organic, nuclear family now, even if it's just dating, and you may feel really good about that, and you may feel so good about that you may put reasonability to the side, and you may say, well, it's not really that bad, or it's the holiday season. You may let those emotions about that fantasy make your judgments, and I really want to caution you against that. If you see the red flags, you need to deal with reality, and you need to run. You need to run, and you need to not look back. And if they're able to fix themselves, and they get rehabbed, they convert, or whatever happens in the process that helps them to get better, and they are made anew. And that can happen sometimes. If that happens, then that's for somebody else, and that's not for you, or that's for the future. You don't have to worry about that right now. What you're not missing out on the ideal, because it's not ideal right now. You're missing out on a fantasy that was portrayed and that you engaged in, but that never was. And that's such a hard concept to accept. And I don't mean to say that in a way that sounds so light, as if it's so easy or not hurtful, or in a way that makes it sound like I'm being condescending. I'm not. You want to deal with what really is. And if what you thought is not what really is, you have to deal with the here and now and run. It is not likely they are going to change in this minute, no matter what they say. And even if they did, you would need years of proof that they have improved consistently before you could even consider anything else. And that's just not where you're at right now. So I want to encourage you not to allow the fantasy in your mind, or the need to be validated in a particular way, or these things that you're hoping for that now seem like they're fulfilled but have changed. I don't want you, or the things that you're hoping for, I don't want you to allow that to make your decision and to influence you to stay. You need to deal with reality. You need to assess reality. You need to talk to other people and find out what they think. Honest people who have your best interest at heart, who have godly wisdom, and who are in good relationships. Ask them run the situation by them, ask them what they think, and deal with the reality. I guarantee you it's going to be so much easier to deal with that reality now than when you've let so much time pass. Can it be helped even then? Yes. But if you're on this side of time passing, the world is your oyster, and you need to run. And you need to sever yourself from somebody who has that domestic violence tendency, abusive tendency, violent tendency, whatever it is, controlling tendency. Run. You do not need that. And you need to run to the Lord, of course. Of course, you need to run to the Lord, but you also need to run from that person. Sever all the ties. You don't even need to communicate a whole bunch. You need to separate and make a decision that you are going to deal with reality. And when reality is good, then you will love it and you will embrace it and invest in it, but not this terrible thing. It's not your fault. We all date them. We all see them. We all interact with them. You just don't want to stick with them. They need to get help. And they need to get help and prove themselves for years before anybody really can date them just even dating them. So, or that's the way it should be anyway, at least to a level that would lead to marriage. You wouldn't want that if you don't have to. So, okay, that was our dinner discussion. Now you know the kind of things that we talk about, and I hope that you have a wonderful holiday season, the rest of it, and God bless you. Bye-bye.